December 11th, 2015. Welcome to Faces and Aces Las Vegas, a podcast where we share great Vegas stories and discuss tips and tricks on how to make your next Vegas trip a better experience. In the Faces segment, part 2 of our interview with Dr. Brett Abarbanel, where we talk about what it's like to be a woman in the world of poker. In the Aces segment, Katie and Aaron give a trip report about their Black Friday shopping experience in Vegas. Also, we have our What Happened in Vegas news and the Tip the Player segment. Our website is facesandaceslv.com. Our voicemail number is 702-381-3657. Welcome to Faces and Aces Las Vegas. We're here with
Katie.
And I'm Aaron.
And I'm Chris.
Hi.
Oh, so what do we talk about today?
Well, I finally went to Vegas after I guess March was the last time I went, or April.
And how was it this trip?
It was great. It was really cold. It was fun. It was definitely over the holidays, so I had to get my Black Friday shopping in, and that was fun.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Did you guys get to do the ice skating at the Cosmopolitan?
No.
We didn't. There wasn't enough time in the day.
How about
Or the night.
Oh, I put a bounty on your head again, Aaron.
Oh, you did? Yeah? How did that work out for you?
Well, let me just say, did anybody find you and give you a wedgie?
They didn't.
Okay. The bounty went up to $120 now.
Well, that's very tempting. I might be placing a bet on myself.
So what did you guys end up doing in Vegas?
I just went shopping.
No gambling?
I played for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock in the morning.
We did
at
a little
Planet
bit,
Hollywood.
but we had some luck at Planet Hollywood. We went from...
I didn't get any luck. I lost $20.
That's pretty lucky that you didn't lose any more.
That's true.
What happened to you, Aaron?
I lost too, but it's all about the experience, Chris.
Well, I mean, what was your game? What happened?
Ever since our last trip, Chris, I've been really into the video blackjack.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I've been it's been my game of choice recently.
Yeah. And?
It hasn't been too well, but I've been getting a lot faster at it.
Do you feel more comfortable at the blackjack, playing basic strategy now, or are you just kind of doing whatever you want to do?
Well, first of all, I didn't tell you that I was playing basic strategy.
True.
But I was. And it works. It works better than less basic strategy.
Right. Do you have a basic strategy card?
I don't have the card, but I pull it up online.
Right.
I like when you're at the video machines that they not only serve you as many drinks as you want,
right,
very quickly, but you can use your phones, and they don't care about that. When you're at a table, they get very strict with the using your phone nonsense.
Yeah, they get really... Well, it depends on where you are.
It really does, but it seems like wherever I am, I want to use my phone, and wherever that is, they don't like it.
Right. Planet Hollywood seems to be cool with you using your phone at the table.
I've been told no at Planet Hollywood. I've been told, you can check it and then go off the table real quick, but you can't just be on your phone the whole time there, which is normally what I would do.
That's kind of the problem, because every time I go to a casino and I need to, say, check a text or see where someone's at, sometimes they'll say, please step up away from the table. Sometimes there's, no, it's fine. Go ahead, use it at the table. There's never any real consistency except Planet Hollywood, which is where I thought it was cool, but I guess not.
I always find they're consistent with not wanting me to do it, because I will always want to be on my phone the whole time.
Yeah.
While you are chit-chatting with the dealer about whatever nonsense, I will be using my phone and being productive or looking at other things while I'm waiting.
We're not talking nonsense. We're solving the world's problems.
Just entertaining myself. You chit-chat with the dealer. I would prefer the dealer doesn't talk to me, and they would get a bigger tip from me.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Using your phone, it actually...
And I can't cheat. I have no way of cheating with the phone.
Well, where I was going is, lately, just recently, I was hanging out on Twitter.
I always call it getting stuck.
Get stuck on Twitter.
Like a rabbit hole of YouTube and Twitter, just keep going.
Right. So that's an actual interesting point, because where I'm going is, there's been a lot of talk about millennials. A lot of articles have come out recently. The Win put something out, a gambling hall or a club just for the millennials.
What, it's going to have lower limits or something?
No, everyone gets a participation award.
Oh, I was thinking it would be like an obnoxious dance club.
And
but you could
everyone
gamble.
wins. Everyone wins, Aaron.
Well,
Everyone.
that's actually a question that I had. Are millennials, because that's the big issue, are millennials not gambling because...
You know what the millennial generation is?
Tell me.
I'm part of millennial, but I'm like on the older end.
Right.
And so I saw the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Everyone's a special snowflake, and everyone deserves recognition and understanding of who they are.
See, but that's question number one that I have. Do millennials, and this is the going theory, millennials don't like to gamble. That's the
Millennials don't like taking risks.
and therefore not
What do
gambling.
you call using ecstasy? That's a risk every time. Like
They don't like
ice cream
taking.
scoops of the
They don't
brain.
like. Okay, how about this? They don't like taking known risks.
Okay.
I know that when I was training people at my old job, a lot of people that were older were always scared of the internet. They were always like, "Oh, I can't press this, or I can't do online banking. That's crazy." Hold on.
I'm not even opening my mouth.
They'll throw 500 down on a table because they can see their money going somewhere. It's a physical thing.
Well, another part is they're not money, and I'm making generalizations about millennials. They're not money motivated.
They're not. They're
Happiness motivated.
They're happiness motivated,
Right.
Which I'm part of that, and I understand that. I'm
Money
kind
makes
of
me
the same
happy.
way. Money makes me happy too, but I'm just saying, like, I'm a little bit of millennial at the table. I like to gamble. I really like the thrill of it, but actually being there and gambling scares me because
Yeah.
it's not that I'll get addicted or anything. It's just
Yeah.
that, like, I don't like losing money that I could see going somewhere else.
Is the whole, like you were talking about before, everybody wins type mentality, is that a turn off with gambling? Because
I think
because
gambling-
it's the harsh reality that you don't win all the time. It's like, I'm just saying millennials in general. Do you think that whole everybody wins mentality plays into them not
Oh,
wanting to gamble?
absolutely. I think so.
Huh.
I think
Aaron,
so.
Do you think? I mean, we're making broad generalizations.
I
of
hate
course.
the general idea that I'm lumped in with this millennial crowd. That's my general
You're an
thought.
old man, so you don't even count.
I think the millennials don't have as much money as progressionally children are staying children a lot longer.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Definitely.
I think that's one huge factor. The parents will pay for a hotel room, but they won't necessarily give them gambling money. Something like that. But in general, I don't know what the millennial casino would be. Whatever it is, Chris, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I won't want to be there.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to introduce new things into casinos that make it more appealing to millennials, like selfie stations. Or I think we talked about or it was played in the last episode, they were talking about skill-based games as opposed to risk-based games. So you're playing your slots and then you get the bonus round and then you get to play a game where you have to win points.
Well, think of it this way. My experience growing up, I played at a lot of arcades, like a lot.
Yeah.
And the benefit of playing at arcade is either you win tickets, but you
right.
always win what? Tickets.
Tickets, yeah, no matter what.
So
It's just how many tickets you win. You win one ticket or you win 30
exactly.
tickets.
Now there are games that
That's a slot
risk
machine, though.
higher amounts of coins
Mm-hmm.
to get more tickets, or there's games that have higher risk with one coin.
It's
Yeah.
about the turnaround time, too. So the game where you put the coin in and you're done in a second versus a game where you're playing for 5 minutes.
Now, I will go to an arcade and I'll drop money. And I know I'm not going to walk away with money. I'm going to walk away with junk I don't need or something like that. But
Candy for your
the
husband.
joy, candy for my husband. The
Yeah.
joy of playing a game
Yeah.
is a lot higher than the anxiety of playing a
Interesting.
gambling
Okay.
game.
Something we were talking about before was with Aaron sitting at the table wanting to use his phone.
Well,
This
we're a
is some-
two-screen generation.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Is
Two-screen generation. We live on our phones. Our phones are extensions of our hands. And an additional screen is just the background. We need background.
Right.
Our minds, we're multitaskers.
Right, exactly.
We're definitely multitaskers.
so I was wondering, is gambling just too boring for millennials?
I don't think gambling is boring. I think that the risk is not interesting. because I have to put money to make money that I might not make. So the effort is not really there for me. Aaron is an extreme case of that, of not being like the millennials.
Yeah.
The man is motivated by money.
Yeah.
And if he can win money or he can make money, he'll do it.
I like gambling, but overall, my whole life, I've lost more than I've won, and I still like it for the thrill of it.
For the entertainment.
But I would like it more. I definitely do not.
If you got a participation award?
No, I would like it more. I would like it more if under two conditions. I definitely like when I can use my phone and be connected to the world and gamble. So it's just like if I'm just sitting there, why not gamble too? And I definitely like too how Planet Hollywood has the half-naked girls dealing to you at the pleasure pit. That. I could stay there a little bit longer.
Right, that keeps your attention on the game.
But that's for guys.
At the table.
Yeah, but they have I saw it. They have one guy in a little little bow tie.
Did he have a shirt?
No shirt.
Did he have a bow tie?
Little bow tie. Bow tie size little.
Well, the root of it all is that Vegas attendance is going up, especially in your age range, but gambling revenue is going down.
Well, it's the clubs. They want to go to the clubs. The whole thing for millennials is the experience and the image and the memories that they make online.
Right.
Do they make any memories?
So they can't if they can't take pictures at the table, then what's the point of playing?
Right. Well, so now they're blending clubs and casinos. You'll have your casino you go
into. Is it a
clubsino? It is a clubsino.
What about the opposite of that, the reverse of that?
A clab?
Club?
A clab?
Clab. Are you going to the clab later?
I'm going to the clab. What are we, from Boston?
How do you, I hate these nightclubs
up in the
general.
clab.
And I know that it's just not my thing, but I hate the idea of them in general.
Aaron's 28 and he hates clubs.
You can't even scream your order to the bartender who doesn't care about what you want. Okay, so I'll go there, but why does it have to be so loud that I can't?
He's 28, everybody.
I can't hear
90
myself
years
think.
old, 28 going on 90.
I need my soup.
I like soup, okay? I had soup yesterday. It was good.
Get off my lawn.
Oh my God.
So, all right.
Where's the spoon?
Next story.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that was interesting, worth discussing. I'm fascinated by the whole thing.
Okay.
So, anyway, moving on. What was there any other stories you wanted to tell about your Vegas trip? Or were there?
They have a lot more Targets and Walmarts there, so Black Friday shopping is a lot easier there.
Right. We did a great job because just randomly stumbled upon a Walmart and Target right next to each other so we could hit them both.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Nice.
We were done with Black Friday shopping by 7:09 on Thanksgiving Day.
And on the strip at dinner, what time? How?
We had to have dinner at
8:15. 8. Yeah.
And we got to the dinner table at 8:15.
That's
and
right.
I did my hair and everything.
You guys were there for Thanksgiving. What kind of Thanksgiving offerings does Vegas have?
I wouldn't ask us that because we went to a very fancy restaurant that wasn't really doing Thanksgiving stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay. It wasn't really Thanksgiving-y. I thought it would be.
Is that a word?
Thanksgiving-y?
Oh, we just coined it.
That is, yes.
We just coined it. Trademark Faces and Aces Las Vegas. It's ours.
I don't think
There's more of a process to trademarking than that, Chris.
Right.
You could check out LegalZoom.com. Your resource for all.
Oh, God.
Okay, so a couple things that we have. Aaron, you were right about blackjack. Vegas Fanboy had an episode 44, that was released last week, and he had on blackjack expert Ken Smith, who clearly said how the other people play at the table does not affect your hand.
So it takes what Ken Smith says for you to believe me and say I'm right?
Blackjack expert Ken Smith.
I'm an expert at everything, Chris.
Hey, you're an expert at BS.
And that.
Oh, what a millennial thing to say, Aaron. I'm an expert at everything.
Did I say it like that? I think I said it with more confidence.
You
like,
did.
I'm an expert at everything.
Yeah, well, again, you're just digging yourself deeper in that millennial hole.
But the point is, yes.
Aaron is a special snowflake.
It makes no sense what the other people next to you are doing. So when they try to critique me, I'm going to say, hey, listen to what Ken Smith says, okay? You don't even know what Ken Smith says.
Blackjack expert Ken Smith.
However, I bet you could find, not to play devil's advocate, but I will, against myself. I bet you could find many a blackjack experts at BJ expert, as you called it in your text to me.
Oh my God.
I knew what he meant though, without any question.
All right. Let's go into Vegas news, or what do we call it? Let's go into let's go into the news.
The news. Okay. All right. Killers and Wayne Newton to open up the Las Vegas arena. Sources Las Vegas Sun. Announced on the Mercedes in the Morning radio show on 94.1, The Mix, the Killers with special guest Wayne Newton. What a mix-up, let me just say.
Right?
Will be the first performers in the 20,000-seat arena on April 6th, according to the Killers lead singer Brandon Flowers. Future performers will include George Strait, Garth Brooks, Janet Jackson, Dixie Chicks.
They're just trying to attract everyone with that,
Well,
aren't they?
it's interesting. The article continues to say that UFC president is interested in doing some fights there. Professional bull riding will happen there. And then this might be...
Is there any other kind of bull riding?
This might be the chance for the city to maybe get an NHL...
Possibly,
That's
bid.
been
the buzz of the town for a while.
Now, it is owned by Las Vegas Arena Company, a joint venture between MGM Resorts and the N. Schultz Entertainment Group.
It's a good thing, I think. It's a good. I mean, bringing in more entertainers, bigger venues.
You always say everything.
Well, I think
a good
I think
thing, though.
MGM is just trying to find another arena because they're competing with some big shows that are happening. J-Lo, the Britney show, the Forum.
Right.
At Caesars, things like that.
As well as a bigger venue for UFC. I mean, that's huge. And I don't know how many people they can pack into Mandalay Bay, which is typically where they have the UFC fights.
They also have an MGM.
And Mandalay
right.
Bay is pretty
Right.
big,
Yeah.
though. That arena is pretty big.
20,000 seater?
I didn't count the last time I was there.
So it's a pretty big arena. I mean, I think it's a good thing. The only downside that I can see is on event nights, traffic's going to be hell.
All right. Silver Car comes to Las Vegas.
I picked this one out just for Aaron. You're going to dig this. You are so going to dig this.
Took a ride in the silver car.
Source is Las Vegas Review Journal. Luxury car rental company Silver Car brings its fleet of silver Audi A4s to Vegas. This app is based on a car rental service. Boasts it's easy to use. You download the app, reserve your car. App unlocks your car with a QR code on the windshield, and then you drive off. The keys are in the car in the center console. There are no websites, no paperwork, no lines, no cancellations, no change.
According to the web, there is a website.
Oh.
Yeah.
No added charge for additional drivers. Car rental includes free GPS, free Wi-Fi, free satellite radio. According to the Review Journal, car rentals start around $69 a day, but the Silver Car website does not list a price. It says, see website for individual market pricing for the days you want to travel. They're starting January 4th.
So you can rent an Audi A4 for roughly $70 a day.
That's a luxury car?
It's nice. I mean, it's not a Mercedes or a BMW
It's
or
a
a
silver
Lexus.
car.
Does it have to be silver, too? Is it like the Uber black car thing?
They're all silver. The whole fleet is silver Audi A4s.
I can't tell if you're joking. Is that serious?
No, for reals, yeah.
And they're all actually A4s?
Yeah, the company is called Silver Car. And you download the app to your phone. You reserve a car on your phone. You go to... Okay, here's the downside. The lot in Vegas is not at McCarran. You have to take a cab to get to the lot, which is about 7-8 minutes away. But once you get there, you just use your phone to unlock the car door. I mean, she read it in the article.
Yeah, I remember something about that from a minute ago.
Yeah, but you don't have to stand in line at the Hertz counter.
I don't stand in line at Hertz counter.
He
You
drives.
get their. Well, I drive, or you get their loyalty card, and it's the same thing.
I thought you were going to love this.
Well, Chris, you are horribly mistaken.
Unless it came with puppies, he wouldn't like it.
It comes with free Wi-Fi.
What's the fascination with people for with the people.
He's so mad right
What's
now.
the fascination with people wanting Wi-Fi in
I
their
wish
car?
everyone could
It's
see his frustration right
it's
now.
It's the same thing as if you have your phone. It's not any faster than. It's not like Wi-Fi in your house.
Aaron, this
People
isn't
think
a tech show. Calm down.
Okay, how about this? Your first rental, you could get $50 off for one day.
Still not worth it.
I mean,
You don't drive enough for $69 a day. Like, I'm not driving everywhere in Vegas. I'd
Yeah.
rather take a cab.
Really?
I drive a lot in Vegas.
No, I know
having
you drive a
car in
lot of Vegas, but you
but
like driving to Vegas. If you didn't like driving to Vegas and you take a plane there, I would get it. But I mean, like, you're there to gamble and go to different casinos and walk. I mean, you're not there to drive around.
How I look at it is the mid-range price range doesn't really work for me. So if I wanted to rent a luxury car, I'd rent a real luxury car. Maybe not a Ferrari, but I could rent a nice Mercedes or a nice Audi. There are a few nice Audis. Mm-hmm. Or you rent a cheap car. I mean, this is really like, to bring back millennials again.
Yeah.
This is like the millennial luxury car. I guess it's not too appealing to me, but we'll see. We'll see, Chris. So do you want to buy some stock?
No, but, well, maybe.
We should have bought stock in Keurig. I just wanted to say that. It went up
Yeah.
a lot today.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, on to the third one. Magical Forest lights up Las Vegas. Sources USA Today. If you're traveling in Las Vegas this holiday season, there's a lot of holiday fun to be had. One family-friendly spectacular worth pointing out is the Magical Forest at Opportunity Village. If it sounds familiar, it's a charity that Penn Jillette played for when he was in Celebrity Apprentice. And it's an organization that provided Elvis Presley with scarves that he would mop his brow with and toss to the fans. Oops.
Scarves?
Yeah. Opportunity Village is not a non-for-profit and serves people with intellectual disabilities. Magical Forest is a Vegas holiday tradition where you can ride the miniature train, take a spin on Cheyenne's Enchanted Carousel, or play a little putt-putt in Rod's mini golf course. All proceeds go to benefit the people with disabilities at Opportunity Village. According to Yelp, Magical Forest has 4.5 stars out of 5 based on 78 reviews. As always, we will provide links to all the news stories and events in the show below in the notes.
What do they mean by an intellectual?
Let's not get into that.
I'm just asking you. Is that
Like autism and yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of those people are smarter than me. They could add
Yeah.
quicker. They can't tie
Well,
their
this
shoes,
is
they
to
could-
benefit them
Yeah.
because
Aaron,
a
you
lot
gotta
of
go,
them
Mike.
have hard times getting jobs because of social barriers. So it's just an opportunity village for them.
They take into consideration what disabilities that they have, and they give them work training so they could actually be productive members of society.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Clever idea.
So yeah, I just thought that was a really cute, if
That's
you're gonna,
cute.
if you're gonna go into Vegas and you want to go somewhere that's holiday-ish. Now, mind you, I'm not specifically ignoring the other holidays that are going around this time, but by the time this airs, I think Hanukkah is going to be just
Sounds
about
like
over.
you're specifically ignoring all the other holidays that are going around this time of year.
No disrespect to our Jewish fans. As I stare at Aaron. But yeah, so we just wanted to do. I don't know. Was there anything Jewish to be done in Vegas during?
You save money and you don't gamble, or maybe don't even go. That's pretty Jewish.
We have to disclose that you are Jewish. You're allowed to say these things.
Why do people always say that? You should be able to say whatever you want anyway, as long as you're not. You should be able to say whatever you want anyway.
I agree, but there are people who get butthurt in this world.
And how do I feel about?
I'm pretty
other-
sure
other
Trump is
people,
not one of
Chris?
those people.
Katie, take us home.
And that's what happened in Vegas.
This week, we have part 2 of our interview with Dr. Brett Abarbanel. Dr. Brett is the head of social and recreational gambling research at UCLA. She is also an amateur poker player. She's given keynote addresses at gaming conferences all around the world. She also teaches a class about the sociology of gambling, which includes one lecture about gambling in film. We cover all of this and also dig into some of her favorite restaurants in Las Vegas. We apologize for the background noise. We tried to provide a convenient location to meet our interviewees, and sometimes that ends up being a noisy restaurant. Here's part 2 of our interview with Dr. Brett Abarbanel. Can you tell me a little bit what it's like to be a woman playing tournament play poker?
Sure. I mean, tournament play specifically, or just poker in general?
Well, when you're playing amongst your friends, there's a certain more casualness.
I'm sorry. No, I mean more like a cash game at a casino, for example. Is a
is that
pretty similar feel.
Would that not be tournament play? Because when you go play
yes.
Then help me to define.
Yes,
because we're starting from a ground zero in terms of playing poker.
Oh, of course.
Where does a person who wants to get into playing poker start? Let's say professionally, want to start professionally. Where do they start?
If they want to start professionally, the first thing they should do is have a specific, separate bankroll from their own personal funds.
Right.
But in general, there are two, I guess more for the amateurs then, there are two primary forms of poker that you're likely to play. There's what we call cash game play, where you sit at a table and you buy in for a certain amount, say $100, and you play with that $100, and hopefully you leave with more than $100, but sometimes you don't. But there's no, I mean, like you can leave whenever you want. You play and the game goes on like that. With tournament play, it's a little different. Tournament play is similar to almost any other type of tournament. You have to buy into the tournament. So again, $100, you buy a seat in the tournament for $100, and you play until you don't have any chips left, or until you have all the chips. In which case, excellent result. You've won.
Okay. I was always under the impression that a cash game, if you do well enough there, you get invited to tournament games. Is that not how it works, or do you enter your first tournament?
Poker is very all-inclusive. It is almost one of the fairest forms in that if you have the money, you can buy in. You don't have to have any sort of skill level necessarily.
Gotcha.
So in both tournament and cash game play, since you asked about gender, it's sort of a mixed bag. In some ways, there's a lot of benefits to being female. You are almost definitely going to be in the minority. Though poker is certainly gaining popularity, or at least the proportion of women in the poker world is certainly growing.
And just so the people know that you did actually research this and publish a paper specifically about women who play poker.
Yes, a few years ago, I just pick research ideas as they sort of fall into your lap. I was playing poker and I thought, well, you know what, this is an interesting topic, talking about different strategies and interactions when you're female versus male at the poker table, when you're usually in the minority. And so I somehow convinced someone to give me funding for this, and it was interviews with a number of female poker players, and the title of the paper was "Chicks with Decks."
Decks of cards.
Yes, decks of cards.
Right. When I read that, how much did your hand hurt from all the high fives when that paper got published with that title?
I don't know. It must have slipped by the editors, but it did get published. Usually, not quite so tongue-in-cheek type of title.
It's a flashy name, and I imagine that's probably what helped it get published.
Well, I hope not. I hope the research spoke for itself.
The research speaks for itself, but you need, like poker, you need every advantage you can get.
Yes,
so you come up with a flashy name for your paper, and that's going to get someone's attention. So, bravo.
Thank you.
That is one of the most creative paper titles I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you. So this research, one of the things that I found, a lot of it was hard because as a researcher, you're really supposed to separate yourself from these interviews. You're not supposed to just put whatever your experience is. Yeah. You're supposed to, incorporate the data from all of these other people.
Right.
But a couple of different interesting tidbits came up. Every single person I spoke to, and this confirmed what I had also noticed, was that as a woman, you're treated differently by the table than if you were just another man at the table. Sometimes this is positive, sometimes this is negative. Definitely the more negative experiences were those from women who were talking about when they played in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whereas as we got closer to today, the response was a much more positive one. I had a woman tell me how she would just get yelled at by other men at the table when she sat down. So you don't belong here. What are you doing here? This is where we come. You're in our way. And then I also had a woman tell me she sat down at the table, and a guy threw a ring across the table at her and said, "Will you marry me?" She said, "No, but can we make that part of the pot? I mean, is this?" I call, give me the money.
That's a nice ring.
You know that.
How long ago were these from their past? And were they, like, this isn't today? Is what
No,
I'm saying.
the ring was within the last decade. The yelling was in the 70s.
Wow. Okay. So.
And then me too. I mean, I've also had both positive and negative. When I was playing, I mentioned we would sometimes go down to Foxwoods when I was an undergraduate.
Right.
And I mean, this was really early. I mean, when I was an undergraduate. So this is when I was 21, and we went down.
And
to
what did you
Foxwoods.
experience? Because that was recent, fairly recent.
Frankly, most of the time I was treated about the same, a little bit different. You know, when I sit down, everybody looks at me and smiles. Oh, you know, there's a woman now sitting here, lovely. There was one instance where we were playing, and we were playing Texas Hold'em. So everybody was dealt 2 cards, and then the action before the flop happened. And I was in the hand, pre-flop, we ended up with 3 players going to the flop. And the 3 cards came out on the flop, and I was first to act. And I bet what I thought was a pretty big bet because I wanted to take down the pot without any callers. And the guy directly to my left said, "Wow, that's a big bet for a woman." I didn't even know what to say. I think I said something like, "Well, no, it's not." You know, that was which was stupid because I wanted to take the pot down, and here I am telling him it's not actually a lot of money. It's possibly inducing him to call. Unfortunately, he did call, and he did win the hand, which didn't make it any better for me, of course.
Do you think that was strategic? Do you think he was trying to get under your skin to make you show?
It's definitely possible.
That's all good. It's all
But the reaction, I mean, it was such a quick response when I put the money out and he immediately said, "Well, that's a big bet for it." So I'm not sure. It could have been, but I think it was just more of like a surprise that because the reputation for a lot of women in poker is that they're sort of passive players. They're more likely to check when they're first to act, or rather not bet and pass the action to someone else than they are to, you know, put a lot of money in the pot immediately.
Okay.
And this was contrary to that general perception of women. And I think that might have been why he reacted so surprised.
It's interesting because we talked about using different advantages as a woman because you sit down at the table, typically a table full of men, and men will use or not just men, poker players in general, will use everything to their advantage to win the game, to take the table. Men, I think, will try to intimidate. And we talked about some of those things before.
Right.
Sunglasses, hoods.
Yeah, the hood up and the...
the posture, the aggressive play. What things have you noticed that women use to their advantage? Have you, in your research, have you found them to use sex?
Well, definitely sexuality is definitely one. Most women I know play poker with a low-cut shirt.
Yeah.
It's almost like a uniform. Not everybody does. It gets very, very cold in the poker room.
Right.
So you might show up, you know, in a dress or an outfit that you think is very sexy, and you want to use that to sort of distract the other players at the table. Right. And then you're sitting there shivering because you're so cold, because most of these casinos keep the poker room so freezing.
Which makes it harder for you to play because
exactly, and then that's a distraction for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely sexuality, and then also there's sort of the idea of the feminine kindness, you know, sugar and spice and everything nice, almost like a kill 'em with kindness type of thing. Yeah. I've definitely, and I'm a pretty talkative person at the table. I mean, like I've also, you know, I mentioned the guy said, "Oh, it's a big bet for a woman." I've also had very positive experiences that came from me taking advantage of being female. I've had people fold to me, always men. Women treat me like a peer, which is wonderful overall. But men, I've definitely had it more than once. A man, you know, who folded his hand, part to say like, "Oh, you know, you can just have this one," sort of thing. And then, but also part, again, I think based on that same reputation that women have as being a bit more passive as players, so that when I play a little bit more aggressively, they're a little bit more scared because, again, that's contrary to that stereotype of women being passive players.
I wonder, in your studies, have you come across women using the mothering instinct to their advantage at the poker table? For example, I'm assuming that all these guys have some sort of mama issue, maybe. I'm being silly. I'm being a little bit silly. But just for the sake of fun conversation, you know, mama will take care of you. Just trust, you know.
Well, I've never seen that, but I'm sure it happens. Oh,
I'm
my
coming at it from a
goodness.
lot of different angles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other advantages can women use, psychologically,
Oh, yeah.
physically. We talked a little bit before about wearing perfume to the table as a distraction. Is that allowed in your experience?
In general, you can wear almost whatever you want as long as it's not, too offensive to anyone. I'm allergic to most colognes and perfumes, so if I'm sat next to someone who is wearing a scent that is making me react, I try and be polite. I say, look, I'm really sorry, but just so you know, I'm going to ask to be seated elsewhere because it's not you. I'm allergic to you,
Right.
or at least what you're wearing.
Right.
And then usually the floormen are usually very, very kind. And when you say, look, I'm really sorry, can I get on the next open seat? Can I move to it because I'm allergic to the cologne or scent or whatever it is?
I think we need to conduct a study, and we need to get a couple of women poker players and approach, and this is going back a couple steps to the mothering aspect. And every time someone has a bad play, I just want her to shake her head and say, I'm so disappointed in you.
Goodness.
I want to see what effect that would have.
That might get you kicked out of the poker room.
Would it?
There are definitely etiquette rules involved.
Okay. Because I know you can't stand up and curse at each other because that's
usually
impolite.
And then there's also rules against over celebration.
Right. So does that cross the line?
It depends on the floor man, the manager who's on the floor that day. It's up to them what they want to do with you. Oh my gosh.
That would be fun to try, though.
Oh, that would be very fun to try. We'll see if we can recruit some folks to do that.
All right.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, women, and I really want to emphasize this. This study was on women in poker, and I mean, one of the conclusions is definitely not. I mean, I want to make sure this is clear. It's not saying that everybody is sexist toward women. It's just that they're treated a little differently, which is pretty normal. Women are different from men. It's not completely strange that they would be treated differently. And again, in some of these reactions, like men have both positive and negative. Men have positive and negative reactions to men as well. And so I want to make it clear. I'm not saying here that everybody's sexist to women.
Yeah.
We just the experience is different, and there are ways as a poker player, since we're talking about players here, to take advantage of that as a woman.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're not speaking in any kind of absolutes in the same way that every woman who goes to play poker does not wear a low-cut shirt.
Oh, right.
We're just talking in generalities and things that we've seen
and most people I play poker with are extremely nice and are there. They're loving the game. They're having a great time.
Yeah.
And
let's jump because I want to be respectful of your time. And there's a couple things that you brought up that you wanted to get to, which is movies, poker movies, or just movies about gambling as well. This is another area where you have expertise.
I teach a class called Sociology of Gambling. I taught it when I used to work for and teach it at UNLV, and now I teach it on occasion through the extension program at UCLA. And we have an entire class session on gambling and film. And I always tell the students ahead of time, and everybody brings popcorn and chips, and we sit we talk about gambling and film. And then we always, of course, because it's film, we have a ton of clips and everything that we show to the students. And as we go through them, because there are some movies that include gambling that are just terrible. And so as we go through these, I say, okay, so this is representing the theme that we're talking about in class. I don't really recommend you watch the whole movie because that's an hour and a half of your life you might have better spent, say, watching this other movie over here. So that being said, this is my very long-winded way of saying that my absolute favorite film about gambling is The Sting.
Okay.
With Robert Redford and Paul Newman.
Good choice.
Yes, absolutely my favorite. And one of my favorite parts is actually in one of the gambling scenes where they're in the train and they're playing poker on the table, and Paul Newman is faking being drunk, and so he can win. And they've earlier stolen. I'm not going to give away the plot of it.
Yeah, that's not.
But there's one aspect that's like a key point of this scene that's not really giving anything away. I mean, this guy is the guy who's playing us is a known cheater.
Yeah.
And they say that early on. So you see his sort of evil henchman. And I don't think there could possibly be a guy who looks more like 1920s mobster than the actor that plays this guy's role.
Yeah.
And you see him when he switches out the cards, it's like such this obvious pulling it off the table and slipping it underneath and like wrapping it up in a napkin. And it's so obvious. I love it. I absolutely love it. But the whole film itself is just such a great setup, and I highly encourage everybody to watch it. I love the film. It's gambling is just a component of the film as opposed to being the whole film about gambling, and it's really an excellent film.
Do you have any other favorites that you would recommend for people to watch if they like?
Well, I'm a huge James Bond fan. So depending on which game you prefer, Baccarat, now apparently Texas Hold'em is James Bond's expertise. He's also played backgammon. See, if I had to pick one, it would be all of them. But gambling specific, one of the best ones is...
What's a good way to do it? How about we go with, I don't know, what's a safe way to do it? I want to say like the recent with like 21 or Rounders or...
Rounders is a good movie. I like that one. And that's actually, there are scenes in Rounders that are very realistic in terms of actual poker play. One of the more fun poker scenes in a movie is in Casino Royale when James Bond sits down. Mostly because the most fun, I said. Mostly because it's not realistic.
Gotcha.
It is so statistically improbable. The hand that gets dealt to everybody has at least 4 of a kind.
And in sequential order, one up to the next one.
Unbelievable. So
very theatrical,
I went
but
I went to go see this with my significant other Jared, and we walk out of the movie, and the first thing he says, and we're both huge James Bond fans, right? So there's all of these different James Bond things we could talk about. We take one step out of the theater, and he goes, "You know, that dealer in that poker game was really good." And he was right. The dealer was very, very good.
Yeah.
And they're the little things with that, sort of the professionalism, the way you deal, the way you can count chips without having to touch them necessarily. You just know how many or how much of is in that pile. He was a very good dealer.
How about Maverick?
Oh, I really enjoy Maverick. That's
another fun
that's
one.
part of the gambling and film lecture. Maverick is a very fun one. The theme that we talk about when we talk about Maverick in class is sort of the magical ability of the gambler. So, but one of my favorite things about the movie Maverick is, of course, his first name is the same as mine. So I have this affinity for Brett Maverick. Right. And his thing is that he thinks that he can, change the card that's going to be dealt to him. So he practices, holding his hand over this deck of cards, as though so he can be able to get the one card he needs. And so you see scene after scene where he holds his hand over the cards and then puts it up to his forehead and looks in the mirror and gets this disappointed face because it's not the one that he was hoping for. Until, of course, the climactic scene where he gets exactly what he needs. And I say climactic scene. I don't feel like I'm ruining it because it's only halfway through the movie.
Right. But it is somewhat interesting because they have to make it dramatic for the sake of a movie. However, watching poker on TV, that happens more often than you would actually think. Sometimes when some people get knocked out, it's just the right card at the right time. And you just sit there, wow. So that's why I say when things like movies like Maverick or Casino Royale, it happens more than you would think, but maybe not. I don't know.
Not all of them. Not Casino Royale quality. Or even Maverick, where again, everybody has a minimum 4 of a kind. And that's very unrealistic. You are highly unlikely to be in a situation like that. I've seen a royal flush beat a 4 of a kind once in the entire time I've been playing poker. And I know people who've been playing far longer than I have and far more frequently than I do, and they've never seen that happen.
Let's talk a little bit about tip the player. Do you have any tips that you would provide someone who's visiting the city? It could be gambling, it could be food, it could, whatever you think is useful information for someone to have.
I think most of what I recommend, because sort of gambling is so well known, most of what I recommend whenever people go to Las Vegas is either food related or entertainment related. One of the things I always recommend, if you like sushi, Vegas is one of pretty much the only place I've ever found where the all-you-can-eat sushi is actually really good and a great value. You can get all-you-can-eat sushi from around $23 to $27.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you ever go out to eat sushi, that's a great deal.
That's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so I usually encourage people to look for that. I have a few places that I prefer.
What are some of your favorites?
Right now, my two favorites, one of my old-time favorites is Kaya Sushi. It's on Spring Mountain. It's in Koreatown. On Spring Mountain and I think Arville. And then the other one is, I think it's called Sushi Dough, D-O-H, exclamation point. And it's also on Spring Mountain. It's a little bit further east of Sushi Kaya, but it's, I think it's at Valley View and Spring Mountain. So they're within like 2 blocks of each other.
Okay.
But those two are really my two favorites in town.
Are those the places that you go to whenever you're in town? You have to go there?
Yeah, I think so. Right. I would say yes.
You know what I don't remember is that, did we talk about it when the mics were on or over eating the Italian restaurant?
Was that when the mics were on? Piero's. I think that was when we were eating lunch.
Let's mention them because the way you described it was that fantastic.
So we also, this is one of those Experience Vegas type place. This is an old Vegas restaurant, Piero's. It's on Convention Center Drive and Paradise, right across Paradise from the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Yeah.
And it's this old Italian place. It's been there for decades, which in Las Vegas time is ages. And it's one of those places you walk inside, it's got the wood paneling, the leather booths. You walk in and you feel like you're going into one of those mob fronts almost. Nice. And I don't want to make any claims. I don't think Piero's a mob front. So Piero's is this great Italian restaurant. And we went there after we moved to Vegas, maybe a year or two after we'd moved there, and we walked in, and the first person we saw there was Oscar Goodman. And we were so excited. Oscar Goodman, former mayor of Las Vegas, current first husband of the mayor of Las Vegas, and former lawyer for many of the famous mob names. For example, if you've seen the movie Casino, Tony Spilotro, the Ace Rothstein character played by Robert De Niro is actually based on a real life person named Lefty Rosenthal, who lived in Las Vegas for a long time and was the quote food and beverage manager at the Stardust.
Yeah.
Well, Oscar Goodman was his lawyer. And he was the one, the scene that they have in Casino is almost a repeat of the scene that actually happened in real life in front of the gaming control board, where he's trying to make sure he gets his license to run the Stardust or skim from the Stardust. Wow. and the lawyer is this is a man who, Oscar Goodman's been in Vegas forever. Yeah. So we walk into this restaurant and we see Oscar Goodman, and we're so excited. We're not really like celebrity sighter. I don't really get that excited. And I live in LA now, and I'm so bad with the celebrity sighting thing. People have to tell me when I've walked by someone famous. Oh my God, I didn't even notice. I'm just like going on my merry way.
Right.
And we're so excited to see Oscar Goodman in there. And that's how we knew this would be a good Italian restaurant, when the former mob lawyer is there right at the entrance as we walk in the door. So Piero's, excellent experience, and the osso buco is their famous dish. It's delicious. Another really great old Vegas-y type place is the Pepper Mill. It's on the north end of the Strip. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Vegas is all neon-y, right? Mm-hmm. Pepper Mill is neon inside. And flamingos and fake plants. It's fabulous.
That sounds awesome.
It is such a great place. The food is not the best food you'll ever eat. It's a diner food, open 24 hours a day. It's wonderful. Highly recommend just going for going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that sounds like a Vegas experience.
And the breakfast food's actually pretty good. I like the breakfast.
Hit this. Like, is there anything that you wanted to hit before we wrap up? There was a conference coming up that you did say you wanted to talk about.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention this conference. So this is in June of 2016, we are going to have the International Conference on Gambling and Risk-Taking. This is a conference that's every 3 years. It's the biggest gambling research conference that really exists right now. And it brings people from all walks of life who are interested in the gambling world. We have academics, of course. It's an academic hosted conference. Right now, UNLV hosts the conference. And we get people from the industry who come in. We get people who are regulators and legislators come in for this conference. We get treatment providers for gambling disorders. We get actual professional gamblers who come. we have one guy who is on the blacklist for card counting at certain properties, and so he always shows up in like a whole get up. And so really, all people who are really interested in gambling come to this conversation. We had at last year's conference, we had a couple guys from the MIT blackjack team from their heyday in the 90s come back, 20 years later, come back and talk about their time on the team and what they're doing now and how being on the blackjack team might have affected what they do now, and do they teaching their kids how to play blackjack and probabilities and statistics.
Right.
So it's a fun, really fun thing. I'm co-chairing the content committee for this upcoming one, so I'm really excited to bring interesting stuff. So if anyone has any ideas, you can put my email, I guess, on your website, and please feel free to email me. And
let me jot that down to make sure to get that from you, because it would be the same one at UCLA that I contacted you with. Okay.
It should be a really good time. It'll be in June, and this coming June it's at the Mirage.
Just amusingly, you told the story about the last time you had the conference where you did invite some of the MIT players and they were denied entrance.
We had this panel of, like I said, the MIT blackjack players, and what I did is, to organize this panel, I reached out to a friend of mine who was on the MIT blackjack team, and he emailed out to some of his former teammates, say, hey, are you interested in participating? And a couple people emailed back, and some we had on the panel, and others had emailed back saying, oh yeah, we want to. And everybody we had to run past the lawyers at our conference location, which was on the Strip. and the lawyers didn't okay some of these people because they had been banned from the casino for card counting. Yeah. And so they weren't allowed back on the property to participate in this panel.
Even though that they're not playing.
Even though they're not playing. We would have walked them straight from the parking garage or the valet or whatever, straight over to the conference, escorted over there.
Would they not do that? Have one of the casino security guys just escort them in and out?
We asked. We really tried. But it was just, they don't want to take on the liability. They're just too nervous about something happening. And then get it. So there were actually a couple people, and we one of them ended up recording. We sort of wrote a couple questions in advance and recorded his answers, so we were able to play those during the panel as well.
Boy, I know you gotta go.
That's all right. No, we can do a couple more.
What I would like to do, if you want to come back again and talk more, because you're one of us. We're one of you. We'll close by saying thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm more than happy to chat.
Open door. Anytime there's anything you would like to promote or any stories that you would like to share, please contact us. Come back on the show.
Totally happy to do it.
You're local too. That makes it so much easier.
You don't have to schlep over and
driving out to Vegas for me. So we'd love to have you back on at some point, as well as I'll throw it out to the audience if there are questions that you think that I missed, which I'm sure there were many questions, and I know that with her enormous background on so many different areas of expertise. If you have questions for her, please email us, and we'll make sure to get that in for the next time.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Oh, this has been a really, really fun time. I speak at a number of panels and conferences and go give talks at different places, and I always have to talk sort of about the academic-y research stuff, and I'm more than happy to talk about that. I really enjoy it. But this has been so much fun because I can also sort of talk about the everything else. I mean, the industry folks, for example, that I talk to, they already know all about the industry, and so we get more into that sort of nitty-gritty, whereas this is much more everything Vegas, and it's very fun.
Experiential, yeah. So thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Look forward to having you back.
Oh, thank you.
If you would like to purchase Dr. Brett's paper, Chicks with Decks, the female lived experience in poker, we have provided a link in the show notes where it can be purchased for $40. If you have a university affiliation, student, staff, faculty, etc., you should be able to get past the firewall and access the article at your university library. If you have good topic ideas that you'd like to send her for the International Conference on Gambling and Risk-Taking, we'll provide her email address also in the show notes for episode 11, and that can be found at facesandaceslv.com. Okie dokie. Any aces?
I would say my ace was definitely the people that were working at Walmart and Target. They were on top of it. although some of the Walmart people did not know where things were located, they were super cool and not mean like the LA Walmart people that would be for Black Friday.
I think you're overgeneralizing the Walmart people.
I didn't have to wait outside. They said just take what you want and you just don't have to pay for it until 6 p.m. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
cool.
Target, I was outside, and when they opened at 6, I got in within 10 minutes. And they were like, no pushing, no shoving. If we see you do any of these things or run or anything, you're out. Like, you're done. Like, no fighting, nothing. And they had, like, police there, and, like, it was very orderly. Everyone was trying to work together and help each other. And they passed out. They said, this is how many TVs we have. And if you want one, let us know. We don't want anyone fighting over TVs. And
there were police everywhere, too, on the outside.
Yeah.
They were just
But it was just,
there.
there was parking. It was orderly. I mean, it's nothing like Los Angeles Black Friday. It was, I was like, Aaron, I think I'd rather go Black Friday shopping in Vegas.
Okay, fine. Deal.
But when you go Black Friday shopping with Aaron, he wants to buy, 14-foot trampolines and, freezers that open from the top. And you just drive in a Nissan Cube. So you don't really know
we need
how
to bring
that's
a
going
bigger car next time.
I know. I mean, we needed a Suburban for what Aaron wanted.
Need a U-Haul.
We packed our car to the brim, and we didn't even get the refrigerator nor the trampoline
the 14-foot
that I wanted.
trampoline.
Okay, it was only 14 feet diameter, and you said that it came in pieces, so the box couldn't have been that big.
You live in a condo. Where are you going to put a 14-foot trampoline?
It's in the living room.
Here's the thing with Aaron Black Friday shop. Sorry, I'm kind of hijacking Faces and Aces to talk about shopping, but
About Aaron and Black Friday shopping.
yeah. So
more specifically.
Aaron really never went Black Friday shopping growing up. I did. His family prides themselves on eating, dinner together on Thanksgiving. Mine prides itself on getting the best deals on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We accommodate
Right.
to what Target and Walmart says.
Right. Okay.
Which I'm fine with. It's
You're
totally good.
spending the day with your family, Walmart.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly.
Aaron, the thought of shopping on Black Friday is not appealing to him. He's not excited about it. I am. I look at the ads. I get crazy. I'm like, look at this deal. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then he gets there and he turns into this like person that I haven't met for the last 364 days of the year, where he is into it. He's in it to win it.
Yeah.
I just want to get all the things I want and leave.
Yeah, but you act like I don't need anything. I don't want anything. And then you
get
see the
there.
deal and you're done. You're done for. You just become like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or whatever.
If Dr. Jekyll's evil side was he bought stuff from Walmart, yes.
Tell him your good deal.
What I liked the most was when we were at Target and we were approaching the front of the line, and I was like getting so excited, like, oh my gosh, we're almost at the front of the line. And the guy who worked there is like, ha, you're not even close.
It's true. You have any aces, Aaron?
Anything jump out at you while you guys were out in Vegas? Anything that's worth calling, letting the people know that this exists?
Well,
Oh, I have one that you remember. What about your deals that you get with your card?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I found out too. I didn't mention it before because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I found out that I get show tickets too every month. 2 show tickets to any of with the Total Rewards Diamond card.
Right.
I get 2 show tickets. So now every time I go to Vegas, I'm going to get 2 show tickets to something like the Improv or Penn and Teller or something else.
That's
It was
cool.
actually a pretty good a good list of shows that I could see.
Do they pick it for you, or you get to pick from a list?
They give me a list and I can pick off the list.
That's cool. Is Brittany on that list?
I don't know, but
I don't think Brittany was on the list.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But some of them were like the ticket prices are $130 or $140.
And one include dinner.
Yeah, the Tina and whatever's Tony and Tina's wedding. That's where they like interact with you in the audience. They pretend like they're a
Oh, that's
guest.
not for me.
I like
That's
that.
not
It sounds absolutely dreadful. I would pay to not go. That's how much I would hate that. That's it.
All right. Anything else? Any other aces?
Aaron should give aces to the cocktail waitress that got him wasted on Jack Daniels at 6:00 in the morning.
I didn't get wasted.
Yeah, he did.
Where
He
was that?
Pretty drunk. Planet Hollywood. I was there in the morning playing craps, and that cocktail waitress asked me for the 2 hours I think we were there. She asked me if I wanted to drink probably every 15 minutes.
Yeah, they were
And
really,
they were on it.
They were on top of
on
it at Planet Hollywood in the morning.
I mean, she offered, you want a cocktail every 15 minutes.
I couldn't drink them fast enough. Exactly.
See, I knew it. He was drunk.
No, I wasn't drunk. I just had a lot of drinks. There's a difference.
He was drunk.
So you guys went shopping. You guys went to eat. Like the place you ate isn't Ace-worthy?
Oh, no, it's totally ace-worthy, but it's
I already
not
gave it an ace a couple times.
It's not Thanksgiving ace-worthy.
SW?
Oh, wait.
No,
What place?
we went to Picasso at the Bellagio. It's a 5 Diamond restaurant.
Yeah, but I was never a big... I mean, it's good. It's good.
I
but
mean,
was
their
never-
budget really went to the Picassos that are on the wall, not necessarily the curation of food.
Be
Mind
your
you,
thing.
Aaron and I are kind of picky eaters. I have an allergy, and he's just picky.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't cater to like our taste buds.
Yeah.
So I mean, somebody that's very open to different kinds of seafood and stuff would probably like it, but for us, it wasn't really.
Oh, but I mean, what you ordered, was it prepared well? Did you enjoy the food?
I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't.
Everything's beautiful and prepared well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's very well done, but it's not necessarily like we have to a dining experience that I have to do.
So you don't necessarily go there for the food, but you go there for the whole thing.
Well,
with
you're
the
right on the
Picassos
water.
wall.
You're right on the
Yeah, I
water
mean,
by the fountain, so it's beautiful.
Right. So it is a dining, quote unquote, experience,
Yeah.
but the food is it's better than average.
They have
but
a good wine selection.
Oh yeah, they have great wine. But I mean, for me, it's just like I would have been just as happy if we did a buffet on Thanksgiving.
And I don't want to get any letters, but I was never a big Picasso fan. So, that was my thing.
What did you order?
My favorite was the baked apples, the baked cinnamon apples with prosciutto on top. That was
yeah.
pretty good.
Okay.
So I forgot to mention last time when we went to the Caesars buffet, Chris.
Bacchanal.
Yeah, I think every time I
Bacchanal's
go
part
there,
of your free food thing.
it is. I can get a celebration dinner at Bacchanal, which I might celebrate with myself. But the point was, when we went for breakfast, Chris, we went to the breakfast buffet there.
Yeah.
Someone was at the ice cream area at breakfast, and they said, "This is crazy. There's ice cream for breakfast? Who would get ice cream for breakfast?" I was right behind them. I would.
Yeah, you're right there with the ice cream scooper in your hand that you brought from home.
I would get ice cream for breakfast. In case you're wondering, I would.
You're like flipping the scooper
But
thingy
you
with
know
your
what?
thumb.
You know what? They did one thing that they get a joker for, okay? They have all these fancy flavors.
Yeah.
They don't have vanilla,
Right.
okay?
Right.
What the beep is that, Chris?
It's terrible.
They have like
I'm writing my congressman
frosted
about
apple or something, like some kind of apple. Not just apple, they have like some kind of apple, but they don't have vanilla. Fuji apple ice cream. No vanilla. I don't even look.
It's a crime.
I don't even look when I order vanilla. I'm just like, I'll have vanilla. And then they had the nerve to say I don't have that.
I'm not staying at Caesars ever again.
Yeah.
No, Caesars
I might
off.
say
I want to
that
stay at
next time.
Nobu though.
They're on the blacklist. And that's all she wrote for this episode of Faces and Aces Las Vegas. Coming up next week, we'll talk to Mike, security shift manager at the SLS Las Vegas. He tells us a little bit about what it's like to be the eye in the sky. And he shares some stories about finding naked people in the hallway. Thanks again to Dr. Brett Abarbanel for giving us a bit of insight into the world of poker from a woman's perspective, as well as for suggesting some fun gambling movies and good places to eat in Vegas. We're off next week, so if you're looking for something to listen to, you might want to check out the brand new podcast, Big Screen Book Club. Each episode, Craig and a guest host discuss a book and compare it to its big screen adaptation. In the first episode, they talk about the novel Nothing Lasts Forever and its movie counterpart, Die Hard. You can find our show notes at our website, facesandaceslv.com. You can reach out to us via email, contact@facesandaceslv.com, or through our voicemail number, 702-381-3657. Please subscribe to us over on iTunes and leave a nice 5-star review. We appreciate that. Thank you, Katie and Aaron, for co-hosting, and thank you for listening. And remember,
What happens in Vegas?
Ends up on the podcast.
I was really asking, guys, what happened?
You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Monsieur Bond? Five and seven of spades. The straight flush. The high hand. Monsieur Bond wins.
Go.